Hey folks, it's Keith, Victor Echo 3 Sierra Victor Quebec, also known as the Shaky Key. Here today with an interesting video, I think, because it reflects a lot of the debate that is going on out there from time to time. And every now and then this topic comes up. And following in some of the groups that are out there, Facebook pages and whatever, the topic was back. And I thought, let's take a look at it because if you're a new operator, this is something that will be on your mind. So the debate basically centers around, oh my goodness, there's so much poor quality Morse code on there. Really? And what is defined as poor quality Morse code? Somebody new who's making mistakes? Pretty normal. And I suspect some of the people who say, well, it's too hard to copy people. Well, why did you contact them? Everybody has to learn. Everybody has to get a start somewhere. And, if you go back to, well, I'm going to say the 80s and 90s, 1980, 1990 time period, you had the American novice bands. Now that was really bad code. A lot of people struggling at 5 words a minute on the air. They stayed on though. They made a go of it. Other operators didn't look down on them. They helped them along. And some of those same operators who had so much trouble years ago at 5 words per minute are now absolutely superb operators today. And that's part of the debate. Do you stay off the air and practice to be perfect? Or do you get on the air and practice and improve while you're on the air? I like that approach. Matter of fact, I did that approach this time around, not my first time, way back in 1990, but this time when I came back to Morse code, that's what I did. Did my studying, did my practicing, recorded everything I could, on my cell phone, listened to it. Could I decipher what I was sending? And I have to tell you, at the beginning, some of it was pretty miserable. And I think a lot of the debate, really, when you get down to it, focuses on spacing. People might know their letters, and yes, the spacing between letters is important. And I think the one that gets missed a little bit when you're new and you're practicing and you're on the air is the spacing with the words. And that does make it a little hard to copy. I know my first time, I'm going to say first 5 times I went on the air, of course, the adrenaline's flowing. You're sending faster. Your sending tends to get choppy. You're really nervous and you just want to get it out of the way. So yes, you may not leave perfect spacing between letters and definitely between words. And I know I'm not sure if it was my third or fourth contact this time round. And one of the people said to me, said, I can pick your letters out because they're really good, but you're not leaving enough spacing. You're running your words together, and that's making it a little hard to copy. So on my end, did I go, oh my goodness, I better get off the air and practice more? Or did I stop, take a deep breath, and go, he's probably right. Maybe I better fix that. And from that day going forward, you won't have any trouble figuring out when I'm sending a word and then switching to another word. So I think that's one of those things. I think that's one of the main reasons you get complaints about all the new operators on the air. I happen to like that. Probably because someone was good to me this time around and offered me some good advice. I like to listen and pick out the newer operators and go have a contact with them. I do a lot of that with the Straight Key Century Club, the SKCC. I'll look for the newer numbers because I'll know basically this is probably a new operator. If they have their frequency posted, I'll listen to them for a bit and confirm if they're new or not. So I get a kick out of giving, in many cases, an operator their very first contact, certainly one of their first 5 or 6. And I don't care whether they mess letters up, whether they have everything 100% 100% correct. It's part of the learning process. So I think that's something we all have to keep in mind when we do this. So for newbies who are out there, we know you're pretty nervous. We can tell from your sending that you're probably very new at this. And now, if you look how many new ones there are, well, there's a lot now. Why? Because Morse code is going through a bit of a renaissance. More and more people are taking it than ever before. If you look back over the last 10 years, there's been a huge surge in the last couple of years in new operators. So, yes, you're going to hear more sort of ragged code or whatever you want to call it on the air, but I think that's a good thing. I really do. I don't run that down. I think that's great to hear these new operators. I know from my own classes, and yes, again, full disclosure, I teach the beginner class for LICW. I'm going to say the vast majority of my students are people who took code like me, maybe 30 odd years ago, either never used it or didn't like it, or in some cases didn't pass it. And now they're back trying to learn it. They might be retired. They have more time on their hand. So yes, they're back learning. And when I spin my dials, and you hear someone sending, yes, there's some fairly choppy code. Not a negative. It's a positive. All of those people, if they stick with it, and what we should be doing as people who are already on the air is encouraging them to stick with it. Some of them are going to be fabulous operators. I've had, SKC, their membership number exchange, that protocol. I've had contacts with people who, if they're 5 words a minute, that's all they are. Do I care? No. I'm there to make a contact. They're there to make a contact. And I'm recognizing that they're new, and I want to encourage them to keep making contacts. And that's why I say on my QRZ page, if you're trying to make your very first contact, hey, I'm happy to set it up with you. Because I think that is wonderful and something that the veteran operators, you can do. So if you are new and you're making mistakes, everyone who's new knows when they blow a conversation or they mess up a protocol. Everyone knows. And everyone right now is so self-conscious about that. So when you do it and you know what parts you're messing up, those are the parts you practice. Have a cheat sheet. Have a script for whatever it is you're going to be doing. Is it POTA? Is it the SKCC, FIS, whatever? Or just a rag chew? Have a cheat sheet made up. Keep it by you. That becomes your lifeline when all of a sudden you panic. And my goodness, what am I going to do now? And you've lost track of where you are. You don't know what you're supposed to send. If you have that cheat sheet handy, and mine's on a stand right beside my radio and computer, I just glance over and say, that's where I am. Okay. And you settle down. So those are the little things you can do. You could practice, and I know one of the areas where people have issues is with their call signs, right? You send your call sign, say in POTA. If you're the hunter, you're sending your call sign. And maybe the other operator isn't getting it right, and they might ask for a repeat, question mark, question mark, question mark, whatever. Practice your call sign. Not just once or twice a day, dozens of times a day. Send your call sign. Record yourself sending it, right? That's how you'll know what the other operator's hearing on the other end. And yes, when you get nervous, you may pick your speed up, which you really don't want to do, which is another reason for recording you when you practice with your call sign. When I first got on the air this time around, I had 2 call signs. I have my VE3SVQ. I have another one, VA3KEI. Now, there's a nice combination of letters to send, right? Da-de-da, dit, dit, dit. But if you're nervous, the operator on the other end doesn't pull out KEI. If you don't have your spacing correct, they hear KS. And I've wondered for a while on POTA, why wasn't I getting credit for this, that, and so on. And then it dawned on me. All right, I recorded myself sending it several times, probably about a dozen times. And I recorded, listened to them all when they came back. And there were a number of them. Yes, I would have thought KS, not KEI. So since then, whenever I use that call sign, the person on the other end will have, it'll be very obvious to them it's KEI. And I've never had a problem with it since, but recognizing one of the problems that I had. So certainly, record yourself. Take a chapter from a book, any book, it doesn't matter what, and pick a paragraph and start sending whatever that paragraph is. So all the letters, the spaces, the words, whatever's in that paragraph, send. Maybe for 10 minutes. If your hand will survive 10 minutes when you're new. But send a paragraph, maybe two. Make sure you record it. Then go back and copy down what you sent. Was it easy to copy? Were you running letters together? Were you running words together? It's a real easy way to figure out what you're doing wrong. And again, like I say, sometimes the old timers out there, they'll tell you. They're not being mean or nasty. They're offering you good, solid advice. So that's something else that you can do. You can also go into some of the various programs out there. There's ones which will tell you how well you send. You can use some of those. What's it? Audacity, I think, is one of them. You can, if you're having trouble copying call signs, correctly, so that you're not always going repeat, question mark, question mark, question mark. Use some of the programs. Morse Code Ninja has excellent call sign exercises. There's a new program called Morse Walker, which does the same thing. Only they add all the sound effects, so you can be an equivalent of an APOTA situation where you're calling CQ, and so many stations will answer because you can determine how many stations will try and reach you, and they're all coming in at different speeds, no different than real world. And the noise that accompanies all of that is the same type of noise you have when you're trying to listen and pull somebody out on your radio. So there's another program. No, that's a free one. Lots you can practice with if you're brand new. And again, for brand new ops, I think the big thing is take a deep breath, slow down. Be conscious of your words. All right, be conscious of your letter spacing and how well you're shaping your letters and so on. I use the straight key. All right, I prefer it. Others will use a paddle. Whatever you want to use, practice. And yes, practice to make perfect. Practice to be as good as you can, but it doesn't mean you shouldn't be on the air. And don't forget, if you're a new operator, there are locations on the various bands where some of the slower operators hang out. Now, there's probably 2 or 3 videos on that that I've done. Just sort of scroll through them all, you'll see some. But certainly the old novice bands, was it 7.100 to 7.120, and the same in the 20-meter band. Lots of slower operators there. That used to be the old novice bands, and some of the people have stayed there. And a lot of very helpful operators there too. But check out those videos. There's probably 2 or 3 different ones of where to find slow speed Morse code or things like that. And again, it's practice, yes, but you're practicing on the air as well. The whole idea is to get better. So that's really my position on all of this. I don't think we need to take sides or anything like that. I think the number one issue here is encouraging new ops to get better, encouraging new ops to make contact. And again, that's something that I pounded into my own head, was because, you can be on the air today and just mess it up. And the other operator doesn't care, but you do, because you know how many mistakes you made. So you may not go back on the air for, who knows, 2, 3 days, 4 days. Once it gets into a week, you may never come back. Set a goal for yourself. I have a chart up on my wall. Actually, I just realized a few minutes ago, it's right behind my computer. And I'm just looking at it. It's got great big huge block letters, must be probably size 20 print or something. One contact per day, SKCC or POTA. That's what I did. I made a point every day, one contact. Maybe more, some days on weekends it might have been 5, 6, 7, 8 contacts. But a minimum of one contact a day so that I was always there, always sending my call sign, always using the script or the protocol, getting it right. And that's another way to just make sure that you as a new operator practice a lot. And to this day, I've been doing this a while now, and I'm going to go on the air at say 4 o'clock this afternoon. 4 o'clock, I'll pull out the protocol that I'm going to use, depending on what it is. Quite often it's the SKCC, and I will send that entire protocol 2 or 3 times just to get my brain thinking Morse code, but also loosening up, relaxing, making sure I know what I'm sending, listening. Sometimes I'll record it, and you can record yourself when you're on the air too. Don't forget that, because how you send when you're just recording and there's nobody on the other end listening is probably going to be different than when you are actually on the air trying to contact someone, trying to make a contact. So that's something else you can do. Put your smartphone by your radio so it can pick up what's going on. Send it, record it, and then later, after you finished your contact, play it back. Listen to what they sent you, but also listen to what you sent them. I think that's another way, and it actually makes it all a little bit nerve-wracking because you're actually taping yourself live in a contact, but it does work. It does teach you where you are making the odd mistake and so on. So some of the things you can do, I've seen some people say, take a Morse code decoder, and it will decode what you're sending. It might. Most of the ones that I've had experience with aren't all that great either, because it has to be absolutely perfect code for the most part. But I don't want it to become a crutch. That decoder sits there and someone else is sending to you and it's decoding what they're sending. That's a very easy way to get into the habit of not really listening, just reading what that decoder is sending you. So I'm not a big fan of decoders at all, even if you're brand new and this is your very first park. I'd rather you suffer through it. I'd rather I suffer through it than sit there and just go, okay, yeah, he's sending this, this, and this. Because you're not really listening to what they're sending. You're letting the decoder do the work. So anyway, that's a personal opinion. Everybody's more than welcome to disagree with me. So anyways, if you're brand new, I hope you're out there. I hope we may make a contact down the road. If you're looking for your first contact, sure, I'm happy to do it. Band conditions are favorable. Why not? Let's get you started off and on your way. And, down the road, you're going to improve a lot. I guarantee you if you do the one a day, I guarantee you within 3 months, you'll sound very differently on the air. So yes, get better, but get better once you're on the air as well. So agree or disagree, it's all in fun. It is a hobby. It's not life or death out there. It's a hobby. We're all here to have fun, all here to enjoy it. If you like this video, please subscribe, share, like. YouTube likes when you do that. And of course, feel free to comment down below. It's Keith, Victor Echo 3, Sierra Victor Quebec, the Shaky Key, wishing you a great day. 73.